Have you ever heard a sound so simple, yet so disturbing that it crawls under your skin? This story isn't about ghosts or monsters in the dark. It's about a mother and the son she thought she knew. If you're watching this at night, you might want to turn on the lights, because once the humming starts, it never really stops. It all started one Monday afternoon. Riley's basketball coach called his mom, sounding nervous. He said Riley had popped 2 basketballs alone in the locker room. The coach couldn't explain it. The balls were old, sure, but Riley wouldn't say how they burst. When his mom arrived, Riley was sitting there, staring at his phone, humming softly to himself. When she asked what he was doing, he smiled, too calmly. That was the first time she heard the tune. It wasn't any normal hum. It was playful, childish, yet so wrong, like a lullaby that never ends. At home, the humming continued. Riley climbed the stairs, still making that same eerie sound. When his mom asked about it, he looked confused. He said he hadn't been humming at all. That night, she could still hear it through the walls. Soft, rhythmic, echoing from his room. She tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just stress. Maybe a phase. But something deep down told her this wasn't normal. The next day, Riley visited his friend Will after school. But when his mom came to pick him up, Will's mother, Linda, looked shaken. Riley had locked himself in the bathroom for an hour. When Will tried to get him out, Riley said he was watching it. But no one knew what it was. And then Riley appeared, walking calmly down the stairs, smiling like nothing happened. He just waved and walked straight out the door. In the car, he didn't speak, just stared ahead, lips barely moving, humming that same haunting tune. By Wednesday, the school called. There had been an incident. Riley and a group of boys had taken over the girls' bathroom, washing each other's feet. When his mom arrived, she found Riley in the office, rocking back and forth, humming again. The teacher, Mrs. Rhonda, pulled her aside. She said, "Has Riley ever talked about my son, James?" Her son, who had died 10 years ago. Riley had told her that James would want them to still drive the blue Subaru. But Riley had never met James, and that car had been gone for years. When his mom looked at him, Riley just smiled. A smile that didn't belong to a 12-year-old boy. That night, Riley locked himself in the bathroom again. The water ran for hours. But even over the rushing sound, she could still hear him, humming. She tried to call her ex-husband, Kyle, begging him to help. Kyle brushed it off. He said Riley was just going through a phase. He'd pick him up Friday and sort it out. But deep down, she knew Friday might come too late. The next morning, the house was quiet, too quiet. She followed the sound of the humming to Riley's room. He was sitting stiff, staring at his closed closet door, unblinking, humming louder and louder, as if something inside the closet was humming back. Hours passed. Daylight faded. When Kyle finally arrived to pick Riley up, he found his ex-wife pale and trembling. She hadn't slept, hadn't eaten. Riley came down the stairs, bag in hand. He didn't speak, just stared at his father and began to hum. Kyle's face turned white. He took Riley by the hand and led him to the truck. For a moment, it felt like the nightmare was finally leaving the house. But as the truck disappeared down the road, Riley's eyes never left his mother's, and his humming didn't fade. The next day, she woke up on the floor. Her phone buzzed. It was Linda. She answered and heard nothing but screaming. Then, the humming. Moments later, she found Kyle's phone on her doorstep, still ringing. Now she's locked in her room, typing messages for help as the humming gets closer and closer. If you ever hear a child humming when there's no music playing, don't hum along. If this story sent chills down your spine, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Would you open the door if you heard that humming?